Hey, what's going on, you guys? Hey, welcome back to another episode with iTrek. Big shout out to all the iTrek fan, man, that is currently in the building, man. And huge shout out to everybody in the chat and all the members, man. I appreciate you guys. Per usual, I got a handful of interesting and creepy videos from all around the internet. And if you haven't already, smash that like button for me, man. It does wonders for the channel and this video. Smash that subscribe button if you're not already a part of the iTrek fam. And let's just jump straight into it.
My name is Bernd, and today we're launching Neo, our humanoid for the home.
But safe doesn't mean limited. Neo's hardware comes packed with features like human-level dexterity and a 55-pound carrying capacity so that it can handle any of your chores reliably. We also worked really hard to make Neo's design friendly and comfortable to be around. Each Neo comes with a machine-washable knit suit, a head, and shoes that you can customize to fit your style. As for using your Neo, we made the experience simple. Out of the box, the core of your experience is fully autonomous. The chores feature lets you schedule a time for your Neo to do all of your chores so you can come back to a cleaner home every day. With the AI companion feature, you can talk to your Neo to get assistance with anything from a hard question to a household task. With Neo's autonomy, you can get access to all of its latest AI features to get help with tasks on demand. And the Neo app lets you interact with your Neo from anywhere. But all you have to do to get started is turn on your Neo and introduce yourself.
Hey, turn on the robot and introduce yourself. Yeah, they want you to get real comfortable talking to this robot like it's a real human being. And before long, you won't even realize that it's not. It's kind of creepy.
Forest in Romania defies the laws of nature and scientists can't explain why. Hoia Baciu Forest is known as the Bermuda Triangle of Romania and also holds the title for the most haunted forest in the world because of all of the unexplainable things that happen there. First of all, the trees there don't grow straight up. They all grow bent and twisted and spiraling up in bizarre ways. There's also a section of the forest called the dead zone, an almost perfect circle of land where nothing will grow. Scientists have come out, they've taken soil samples, there's nothing wrong with the soil, nobody knows why nothing can grow there. People who visit the forest also commonly report strange side effects, like headaches, nausea, anxiety, and losing time. You might feel like you've only been there for a few minutes, only to look at your watch and realize that hours have passed with no explanation. Also, the amount of ghost sightings at this place is astronomical. People report seeing shadowy figures, hearing voices, and some even leave with unexplained scratch marks on their bodies. On top of all of that, there are a ton of UFO sightings that have happened above the forest. Like this really famous photograph that was taken in 1968 of a supposed UFO. Locals and visitors continue to report seeing strange lights and objects in the sky, and feeling like they're being followed. So, would you ever visit this place?
So what she's saying is we have no business roaming around in a Romanian forest. That's what she said. I heard it clearly.
Our traffic will be snarled, right? It'll be a disaster in aviation. And just I'm going to steal, you stole my point, I'll steal one from Scott Kirby from United. October is a slower air travel month, and we have great weather in October. And so you've seen minimal disruption because of good weather and slower travel. But as we go into November, travel picks up as people start to look at going to see their families. Kids come home from college. And if you don't have air traffic controllers who are being paid, they may want to stay on the job, but they cannot. They're going to have to go take a second job, and you're going to have mass issues throughout the airspace. People will not be able to go from one place to the other because of the government shutdown, and I hope Democrats don't take it to that point.
Now, I've been doing just a little bit of traveling in and out the country lately, and when you hear these type of things, it makes you not want to travel at all, like, period.
This is a pocketbook which is covered in the skin of William Burke, one of the notorious Burke and Hare serial killers. And the reason this is covered like this is because his body was taken down after he was hanged, and it was used as a dissection model for Alexander Monro, who was one of the leading surgeons in Edinburgh at the time. And the idea is that as punishment for his crimes, he wasn't going to suffer just hanging. He was also going to have the further disrespect of his body being used in this way. And that's important for Burke's position in the afterlife. It is a fascinating piece. To get this close to one of these artifacts is truly incredible. And it's one of only many here at Surgeons Hall Museum.
See, that's the huge difference between back then and today. Because back then, you had to suffer your fate in front of everybody, and it happened rather quickly, because we're talking about like lynchings and things like that. But today, no, they monetize your suffering, right? You're inside of an 8x8 box for many years, and nobody watches you, and you're almost forgotten about. Pretty wild how things have changed.
Donald Trump is no stranger to beefing with celebrities, just like that one time he did with Olivia Rodrigo and Taylor Swift, but this time he has a whole new beef with Ariana Grande. You see, a couple days ago, Ariana posted this to her story, criticizing Trump and everyone who voted for him, so the White House itself decided to release a public statement calling Ariana out. They made a lot of jokes using her very own song titles like Get Well Soon and Save Your Tears, and they also pointed out that because of Trump's executive order against Ticketmaster, it allowed Ariana's fans to get concert tickets at an affordable price.
The human arm wasn't built for this. I'm an orthopedic surgeon, and this is incredibly painful for me to watch. Look at the drop angle here of that arm. Imagine all of that tension on the ulnar collateral ligament. Typically, this sidearm approach is way more dangerous, whereas a more overhead throwing is more stressful on the shoulder. This would be a form here that would be at risk of tearing your ulnar collateral ligament and needing a Tommy John surgery.
Hey, nothing about that looked right. Like, it looked like his arm completely dislocated, just all out of socket, right?
Knew there was something fishy about those LA fires, and now stuff is starting to come to light. You need to watch this video, but leaked text messages reveal that firefighters in LA were told to stand down from a fire that later reignited the Palisades fire. Watch this.
The report says firefighters were ordered to leave the smoldering burn site that eventually became the deadly Palisades wildfire. The LA Times is obtained text messages from 3 firefighters at the scene of the Lockman fire. That fire started, of course, New Year's Day and then smoldered until January 7th, when historic winds reignited it into the Palisades fire. Federal prosecutors say that fire was intentionally set by Jonathan Rinderknecht. On January 2nd, a battalion chief ordered firefighters at the scene to pull out of the area because the fire was contained. One firefighter said the chief had been told it was a bad idea to leave because the fire was still smoldering and could be rekindled. The LAFD has declined to comment on the text message.
Yeah, if that's not sketchy, then I don't know what is. We need to see all of those text messages. And not to be a conspiracy theorist, but LA is part of the 2030 UN agenda where they make sustainable cities. And so is Jamaica, Vision 2030 Jamaica, where they also make sustainable cities, smart cities. And it's kind of crazy timing because the hurricane in Jamaica just happened. And now we're getting this information about the LA fires. But anyway, let me know what you guys think about this.
UFC President Dana White wants to sign this Chinese viral martial artist who practices Tongbei Chuan, a traditional Chinese kung fu style. This art is known for its incredibly fast punches, which can even create a sharp, cracking sound as his fists cut through the air due to the speed. He's even shown the ability to bend a wrench bare-handed using his strikes. What makes this style so powerful is the principle behind the movement. The arm stays completely relaxed and whips out like a rope, transferring force all the way to the fist in one explosive instant. This practitioner, who can barely stand steady, is actually performing a type of kung fu. At first glance, it might look like he's had a bit too much to drink, but nope, he's practicing drunken fist, a traditional Chinese martial art. This style mimics the wobbly, stumbling movements of a drunk person to trick opponents into letting their guard down. The moment they relax, that's when he strikes, and often with knockout power.
Hey, Dana White had it right, because I definitely would pay to see him knock out some UFC fighters with that fighting style, man. That's definitely interesting.
This is not a good sign. A wildlife photographer in southern Spain captured what's believed to be the first ever white Iberian lynx. An animal once on the brink of extinction, fewer than 100 Iberian lynxes were left just 2 decades ago, but conservation efforts have brought them back from near extinction. This unique white lynx could mark a new chapter in the species' recovery story. Maybe they have a hidden lineage of white lynxes in their genes. We don't even know about it. But remember when that tsunami hit Russia just a couple months ago? There were white beluga whales washed ashore just the day before the tsunami and the earthquakes happened. So what hidden message are we not seeing with these auspicious sightings? I'll keep you guys updated.
This is massive. What you are looking at is believed to be the first recorded sighting in history of a leucistic Iberian lynx. Photographer Angel Hidalgo captured this footage somewhere in the Mayan mountains in Spain, but the exact location is being kept a secret to protect it. Now, at first, some were skeptical if this actually was a leucistic Iberian lynx, but local media report after analysis of the images by specialists from the Lynx project, it has been confirmed that this is a leucistic specimen and the first officially documented in Spain and possibly the entire world. You are witnessing history right here. Not only is the Iberian lynx extremely rare with only about 2,000 in existence, but to see one that is also leucistic, which means it's got a white coat, is almost mythical.
Now let's be honest, it did look kind of AI, you know what I mean? Just a little bit. If that is not AI, that's pretty cool.
Here's what I found. If you don't personally know what success is to you, the world will tell you what it is. Trust me, you'll be regurgitating what they've given you. So it took me about 6 months to kind of say, okay, get a personal definition of success. And I worked on it, and I have one, and I've had it for 50 years, and it's good for me. I'm not saying it should be yours at all. It's my personal definition. I'm really not asking you to agree with me, but it works for me. My personal definition of success is very simple. Those who know me the best love and respect me the most. That's success.
And you know what? I definitely can agree with that, man. Everybody's opinion doesn't matter. Just the people's opinions that know you the best seem to matter the most. And then even deeper than that, I would say God's opinion above all.
You're going towards the light.
Okay, so I go into the light, and so everything looked a lot like a video game in my light experience. And that could be because of the generation that I'm born in or because we're living in a simulation. We end up on what felt like the deck of a spaceship. And there was thousands of other souls around me. I just don't have any better language. There was thousands of souls all around me. And you can call that Commander Christ or Krishna or Buddha.
There was a consciousness.
There was a higher consciousness, loving, accepting, leading, secure. And all these souls were all jazzed, like we are pumped. And our commander is telling us that we are the most special volunteers and we have decided to jump to Earth for the transformation of consciousness. And everybody is cheering and everybody's so excited. And, you know, I have no idea what's going on, but I know that I am part of this. And I feel the connection to all the other souls around me.
All right.
And you know what? This is an observer channel, I would like to call it almost, right? We're taking in all kinds of different information. I will say this. Why isn't there two people that have the same exact experience when it comes to like going to hell or going to heaven? Like, why are there minuscule differences or even great differences, you know, between their experiences? That's one thing that just raises my eyebrow, right? And I'm not here to invalidate or, you know, say that they're lying or any of that because I wasn't there when they went through it. But I'm just saying it should be two people on this earth that don't know each other that experience the same exact situation and no difference. Get what I'm saying? Definitely drop your opinion down below.
Brazilian scientists have built a groundbreaking time machine inside the Amazon rainforest using 6 steel rings hanging above the jungle canopy. Cranes and sensors pump carbon dioxide into the rainforest to mirror a likely future environment. Scientists say testing the ecosystem's reaction to higher greenhouse gas levels will help them to understand how best to preserve the Amazon.
The theory that we were supposed to die in 2012, and if we did, no one would realize. People said that the Mayan calendar ended December 21st of 2012, which supposedly marked the end of human existence. Or existence in general. But here's where it gets weird. Some scientists and internet theorists believe that something did happen that year, just not the way we expected. They claim that they believe that our reality shifted, so we're like in this other parallel universe. That's why some things seem off. Time, memory, and small details are completely off. That's where the Mandela effect comes. Many people claim that right after 2012, they started noticing some mismatch. Things that were way off and things that we don't remember. Many people believe that we died in 2012 and this is just like a copy of like our past life, but I'm not saying this is true, it's just a theory. So what do you guys think about this theory? Do you guys think the Mayans weren't off? Or is this theory just a bunch of, you know, BS? I want to know what you guys think.
They put a warning on the documentary saying that they were not responsible for any strange things that might happen to you after watching it. Horror movies do not freak me out, but real life stuff does. I just got done watching a documentary about a guy who wanted to get cursed. He went to several people and was like, look, what's the most negative thing you got? I had to reach out to ask him some questions because I was like, what on earth would possess you to do something like this?
So what on earth would possess a person to go looking for a curse? If you really believed in curses, you wouldn't do it. My reality was I didn't really believe a curse would have any effect on me. And that's not to say that I didn't believe in the paranormal or the supernatural, but really I just didn't think that magical practitioners necessarily had the power to inflict a curse on someone else. The reality is I started to feel a lot differently after having gone through this process. I absolutely do not recommend people do this.
I wanted to know so badly too, is his crew okay?
My exec producer, at one point he called me up that he started having sort of heart palpitations, and he thought to himself, oh no, what have I done? I've been involved in this cursed film and now it's come to get me. Fortunately he was fine, but he certainly got worried for a moment. And I also know that my local producer in Mexico, he called me up a few months after going through the events that we do in Mexico. He was involved in a small car accident, and then I believe his home was burgled. He was beginning to get worried. I was thinking, what have I unleashed? What's happening here? Fortunately, it did seem to stop there.
Because of the warning at the beginning, has anyone reached out that's watched this documentary and had something bad happen to them?
I don't believe that people watching this film have been affected by it, although I have had a few random messages from people on social media that said during the moment that they were watching it, their cat freaked out or they lost power in the house. There's been a couple of odd things. I'm not sure it's enough to prove that this is a cursed film.
Was there any scary thing behind the scenes that didn't make it into the film?
I went to a place in India, which was a very revered and sacred place where actual human sacrifice had taken place many hundreds of years ago, but the site was still there. It's a very revered location, and the actual swords that took part in that human sacrifice, in many human sacrifices, were still there. Probably the eeriest, creepiest place we went to. It kind of freaked us all out a little bit. Feelings and atmosphere don't always come across on film, and unfortunately that scene didn't make it into the film.
I wonder, do you think if somebody was to watch this film, would they potentially be putting themselves at risk?
The intention by the practitioners was solely aimed at me. But I'll let you into a little secret. All of the curse scenes that happened, you don't get to see every single word in that process. We edited it down, partly for time and partly for safety reasons. So that said, we did put a warning up at the start of the film just in case.
If you could go back and warn yourself before filming any of this, what would you say?
I don't know if I would warn myself, because I think that I was supposed to make this film. I know that sounds kind of woo-woo, but I think some stories are supposed to be told. I think what I take away from this film is that whether or not you believe magic can have an effect on you or the psychology can have effect on you, the power of words are real. And so if those negative words can have this major effect on my life, then positive words can also have a major effect on our lives too. And so I think that this is actually a really positive story, and I think that this is why I wanted to tell this story, because it's about the power of belief. I think for that reason this film is a positive movie, actually, and so I hope people take away the positives from that.
You know what, I hear what he's saying 1,000%. And I don't know everything. There's not one person on this earth that knows everything, right? There's a lot of people that pretend they know because of the facts that they think that they have. But one thing that is always a constant is you will definitely find what you're looking for. You know, whatever you set out to look for, you're going to find it, you know? And the other fact is, you know, there is power in the tongue, man. Whatever you're going to continue to speak, it's definitely going to come about some way, shape, or form, man. And these things are facts. There's no if, and, or but about these things.
I have a theory that mind control is happening today. I don't think it's happening with drugs and pills and electric shock. I think it is happening through social media.
Okay.
I think
that's not crazy to say.
Let me put my tinfoil hat on. I think the CIA can easily manipulate people and the public through social media posts, through anger.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, look at our country now today. We are so divided. And I think social media, personally, in my opinion, has played a huge part in that division.
Oh, yeah, for sure. One of my colleagues asked me to analyze a bunch of brains of psychopathic killers. Some of the brains that I've studied are people you know about. When I get the brains, I don't know what I'm looking at. It's a blind experiment. They give me normal people and everything. So I've looked at about 70 of these and came up and saw a number of pieces of data. So we look at these sorts of things theoretically on the basis of genetics and brain damage and the interaction with environment and exactly how that machine works. So we're interested in exactly where in the brain and what's the most important part of the brain. So how you end up with a psychopath and a killer depends on exactly when the damage occurs. Every one of them I looked at who was a murderer and who was a serial killer had damage to their orbital cortex, which is right above the eyes, the orbits, and also the anterior part of the temporal lobe. So there's this pattern that every one of them had, but they all were a little different too. They had other sorts of brain damage. The key thing is that the major violence genes is called the MAOA gene. And there's a variant of this gene that is in the normal population. Some of you have this. And it's sex-linked. It's on the X chromosome. And so in this way, you can only get it from your mother. And in fact, this is probably why mostly men, boys, are psychopathic killers, are very aggressive. Because, the daughter can get one X from the father, one X from the mother. It's kind of diluted out. But for a son, could only get the X chromosome from his mother. So this is how it's passed from mother to son.
Very creepy, but did you know that if instruments touch prions, they are permanently contaminated, cannot be sterilized, and must be incinerated? Prions cause things like mad cow disease, and if you have bacteria or viruses, you put them in the autoclave. What's an autoclave? Basically a medical grade pressure cooker, 130 degrees Celsius at 2 atmospheres, anything living is gone. That is how we sterilize medical equipment, but prions are not a living thing. They have no DNA, no RNA, they are simply a misfolded protein. And it's incredibly stable, it easily survives the autoclave. You only need 0.001 milligrams to get infected. Prions come in contact with your proteins and cause them to misfold, creating a deadly chain reaction of proteins misfolding and then causing other proteins to misfold too. A few months later, your brain becomes a non-functional sponge with holes in it. Prion diseases are 100% fatal. No cure and no treatment.
President Trump ordered the Pentagon to immediately resume testing nuclear weapons after a gap of 33 years. President Trump made the statement less than 1 hour before his meeting with China's president. The last full nuclear weapons test conducted by the United States occurred in 1992.
You're never going to be able to spend more than $1 million a year. People are like, yes, I can. No, you can't. Because there's only so many pizzas you can eat. There's only so many watches and gold bracelets you can put on your wrist. It gets boring after a while. Your 5 private jet trips, you're like, okay, I don't want to travel anymore. I've seen it, done it. $1 million a year, which really means if you make $20 million and you invest it in a good S&P 500, you're making $1 million a year for the rest of your life. And it's growing. So if you want to get to a number where you retire, just think 20 million or 25 million bucks is what you want to hit. And once you hit that number, enjoy your life, because you'll never be able to spend it after that.
Hey, you know what? I guess that just depends on how reckless you are. You know what I mean? Because I know some people that could spend about $1 million a year. I ain't gonna lie to you, but I sure would like to try.
New film Weapons is not what you think. It's coated with heavy occult symbolism of Aleister Crowley's apocalypse and complex magical spells. It is not just a horror movie. It's about kids disappearing, occult possession, and a ritual happening right under everyone's nose. There's a poster inside this fake PA school, a goat with the bobs as the mascot, a magician on a mountain, and 17 kids in little bodies of water with zero explanation. It's hidden in plain sight. Why 17? The 17th letter of the alphabet, Q, which takes us into the numerology connected to the death and resurrection of Osiris, which happened on March 17th, the 77th day of the year, and Aleister Crowley was obsessed with 77. When are you going to wake up? At 2:17 a.m., 17 students just Naruto run into the night. A film released on 8/8, the Sirius Lionsgate portal, the peak power of the dog star, the blazing star of Freemasonry known as Sirius. And the film literally tells you the triangle is inside the circle, microcosm inside the macrocosm, as above, so below. The parents frozen, their minds MK Ultra hijacked. How? A woman named Gladys uses ritual magic, cutting hair, ringing a bell with the number 6 and the inverted triangle, the alchemical symbol of the womb, the subconscious, and the abyss. This isn't fiction. It's MK Ultra. It's occult mind control. It's Saturn. It's the weaponization of children. And that's barely the first half of my breakdown. We've got numerology, end time symbolism, and why the media refuses to talk about this. The full episode is live right now. Link in the bio. If you're interested in the truth behind the occult in Hollywood, you do not want to miss this one.
It goes all the way back to the point of you got to definitely be careful about what you're ingesting when you're watching these movies, these TV shows, because these symbolism and this occult magic and all these different types of things going on within them in the background are real, definitely.
Why no one is talking about this, but the United Nations just released the year that the human population will peak before beginning its irreversible decline, and it is a lot closer than you might think. To give you some perspective, the global population has quadrupled in the last 100 years. In 1925, there were roughly 2 billion people, and now we hover around 8 billion. This massive increase in population is thanks to a couple of different things. The average person lives a much longer life today than they did 100 years ago, and we're still riding the population momentum from the baby boom, where families were having 5 to 6 or more kids. All of those kids went on to have their own kids, and so on. Today, all of the countries that you see here in red are not meeting the necessary fertility rate of 2.1 to maintain their current population. And it's expected that the world will peak around 10.3 billion people in 2080 before it enters a slow and irreversible descent.
I'm not too sure about irreversible, but I believe there definitely will be a decline.
Come through now. Never seen them. Yeah, and you got an old person on there. Why are you risking them?
But and it's nothing happening over here. Like the water is
Hey, prayers up for New York. What all do you guys got going on over there? That weather looks out of control.
Kicked out of his mansion and kicked out of the monarchy, effectively. What happens to King Charles's younger brother, Andrew, now? Well, he's now been officially stripped of all of his titles, including that of Prince, so he's now just a plain Mister. He's been kicked out of Royal Lodge, his grand mansion on the Windsor estate, which he shares with his ex-wife, Sarah Ferguson. Royal sources tell me she's going to have to make her own arrangements, but he will be offered a home on the King's private estate at Sandringham, and he will be provided for there. Why? Well, because of the swirling storm around his associations with the late Jeffrey Epstein, the pedophile, and accusations that Epstein trafficked young girls to a series of men, including Prince Andrew. He's always denied any wrongdoing. The King acknowledges that, but he also acknowledges Andrew's serious lapses of judgment, as they put in a statement. One outstanding question for the British public and British politicians is about that one remaining privilege that Andrew does have now. He's still 8th in line to the British throne. In theory, he could one day be king, something for the British public and British politicians to consider next.
He said 8th in line. It doesn't sound like he's too close to being king at all. But, this also shows the duality of life, the battle between good and evil. So many people have theories about what's going on at that castle. We hear, theories of reptilianism and all kinds of stuff going on. But clearly, if he's getting the boot, something's going on.
The Boule Secret Society, capital B-O-U-L'-E, it is a black skulls and bones. They are worse than any skinhead. They are worse than any Klansman. On the 15th of May of 1904, in the city of Brotherly Love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the hometown of the Prince Masonic Order, the Boule Secret Society was formed by 9. Okay? Now, these 9 black men, beginning with Dr. Henry McKee Minton, and the last one, Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois, who was the biggest sellout because he was the one who had betrayed black America in a twofold way. Actually, a threefold way. Number one, Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois, who's revered in the annals of Black American history and throughout the Black diaspora, worked with Margaret Sanger of Planned Parenthood. And he told Margaret Sanger in 1928, a year before she set up shop on the corner of Malcolm X, which is now Malcolm X Boulevard and 125th Street, which is 125th and Lenox Avenue in Harlem. If you want to gain access to Black America, you have to target the Black pulpit. These churches, okay. So in 1929, the Harlem Pastoral Alliance, 500 Black ministers from Harlem and from around the 5 boroughs of New York City were paid off by this witch, this whore, Margaret Sanger, who herself had 3 children. 2 of her children did not belong to her husband. One belonged to H.G. Wells, okay? And the other one belonged to Cecil B. DeMille, the Hollywood director. And she said the worst place for a Black child to be is in his or her mother's womb, okay? These people are driven by the demons of Genesis 6, the fallen angels, okay? So the Boule Secret Society, May 15th, 1904, started with Rockefeller Foundation money, okay? Whereas the term the talented 10th did not come from Dr. Du Bois, it came from John D. Rockefeller, who gave it to Du Bois. Now, for your listeners, they may be wondering, what is the paradigm of the talented 10th? That the Boule Secret Society would be the conduit which they would choose 1 out of 10 African-American men and women of a lighter hue to represent the masses.
So many secret societies that we have no clue about in the background, man. This is just pretty mind-blowing.
All digital data in the world will get deleted in 2033, and this guy from the year 2062 just told us how. Yes, he claims to be a time traveler. They even connected him to a lie detector, and it all checked out as true. So Spotify reached out to sponsor this video to let us get to the bottom of this. His name is Peter Reuter, who says in November of 2022, patient 0 of a deadly virus started infection at JFK Airport. And in October 2023, a new variant of the virus known as Pegasus was spread to infect the entire world. Dr. Eliza Knight was assigned to Peter's case, who tells her the end of the world is closer than we think. According to him, kids being born now will be known as the IP, or interpandemic generation, who will grow up glued to a screen and fearing social contact. In 2031, we finally establish our first colony on Mars, but that's nothing compared to the discovery we make there 11 years later. On March 30th, 2033, the world will experience the Great Deletion, in which an AI tasked with cleaning up junk files ends up deleting literally everything. Just imagine waking up one day with no email, no social media, your entire digital footprint is completely erased. Then, in August 2042, that colony on Mars uncovers an ancient city buried under the Martian surface, which apparently teaches us how to time travel. Ultimately, October 2053 is when the entire world crumbles for good. But then, the unexpected.
Apparently this guy found 6 new Mandela effects.
Top 6 changes of animals in this timeline. Number 1, cow tipping. Cow tipping is not a thing. You cannot cow tip. There's no evidence of you can cow tip. Apparently, that is not a thing in this timeline. It's never been documented. It's not a thing. It changed in this timeline. Number 2, horses can have mustaches. Yes, in this timeline, horses can have mustaches. Sometimes they shave them off. It's a thing, but they do have mustaches. Also, horses do not have round eyes. They have horizontal eyes. They do not have round eyes in this timeline. Apparently, we all just misremembered that because in this timeline, they do not have round eyes. The bald eagle is America's national bird. When did it become the national bird? How about last year, December of 2024 to be exact? That is when it became official that the bald eagle was America's national bird. In this timeline, there are Civil War camels. Yes, the camels fought in the Civil War. We have American camels and they're here. They've been here since the Civil War, and there's actually famous ones in this timeline. I did not know that. Number 6, it is Smokey Bear. It is not Smokey the Bear. Apparently, it's always been Smokey Bear.
Now, the whole bald eagle thing definitely threw me for a loop because at least on the west coast of America, the schools definitely taught that the bald eagle was the national animal. So to see that pop up again, and most recently, you know, obviously I covered that in a video and we all talked about it, but yeah, that's wild.
There's a pattern every breakout artist follows. Here's how Bad Bunny did it. At 21, he gained access the unconventional way. While bagging groceries for $7.25 an hour, he uploaded Delays to SoundCloud in January 2016. 1 million plays in 2 weeks. Producer DJ Luian found him browsing SoundCloud and brought him into the industry. Within months, manager Noah Assad signed him to independent Rimas Entertainment. The gatekeepers came to him. Bad Bunny owned radical authenticity in a machismo genre. Painted nails, full drag in music videos, skirts on national television, refusing to sing in English despite industry pressure. Everything from his gender-fluid fashion to his trap reggaeton fusion screamed defiance of Latin music conventions. He leveraged each win into exponential momentum. I Like It with Cardi B hit #1, which led Drake to seek him out. That crossover opened doors to his debut album hitting number 11. By 2022, arena tour success revealed stadium-level demand, which he immediately leveraged into World's Hottest Tour. Then he drove demand to historic levels, $435 million in 2022 touring revenue, breaking the all-time record that year. Spotify's most streamed artist globally, 3 consecutive years. First all-Spanish album nominated for Grammy Album of the Year. In 2025, he launched Puerto Rico's first ever concert residency. 31 shows, 400,000 tickets sold, millions registered. He skipped the US entirely, all while performing almost exclusively in Spanish. Most artists stumble into success, but what if you could be strategic about it? That's what the pattern reveals.
The man was working at a grocery store. If that doesn't inspire you to go chase your dreams or go do something, man, I don't know. Nothing will. Nothing will, you know? It's crazy.
They're famous people who disappeared. So Jean Spangler was a 1940s Hollywood actress who disappeared in 1949 with her purse found in Griffith Park in LA with a note to a man named Kirk, but nobody ever found her whereabouts, while Connie Converse, one of the first modern songwriters, left New York City one day in 1974, and after saying bye to her friends and family, was never heard of ever again. Harold Holt, the Prime Minister of Australia, disappeared in 1967 while swimming. Nobody ever recovered his body, but assumed he drowned. Similarly, Michael Rockefeller vanished in 1961 in Papua New Guinea while on an expedition, and it was initially presumed that he drowned, but nobody actually knows if he drowned, was attacked, or captured by the indigenous people there. Jimmy Hoffa was a labor union leader who randomly vanished one day outside of a restaurant in Michigan, with nobody ever knowing why, despite speculation that it was mafia-related. Richie Edwards, the lead guitarist for the band Manic Street Preachers, vanished without a trace in 2008. They ended up finding his car near a bridge, but never found his body. And finally, Amelia Earhart vanished in 1937 during her trip around the globe, in which she disappeared somewhere over the Pacific, and nobody has any idea where or how. That's crazy.
People go, what does a record producer do? This is what I finally figured out how to explain to people who don't do it. Okay, so you and I are on an island. It's like a little island. It's got coconut trees. Everything's cool. And there's this bridge it's a rope bridge that goes off into the mist. And I go, hey, we should go up on this bridge. I think there might be a better island there. And you're like, well, what does it look like? I don't know. But I think it'd be better than this. And come on, let's go. So we get on the bridge and we're going up on this bridge in the mist, and all of a sudden the wind's kind of coming up.
Scary.
Yeah. And you're like, dude, let's go back. Our island was totally fine. Coconuts are fine. I go, come on, we got to do this. We're going up there. All of a sudden we're up there and the bridge is swinging and pieces of the bridge are falling out. And you have to step over and there's a rushing river under there. You're like, dude, fuck this. We're going back. I go, come on, man, trust me. We come out, the clouds part, and now there's mangoes and there's papaya and there's oranges. And you go, dude, this is really great. Why did you tell me it looked like this? I would say, I didn't know it was going to look like this. But I knew where we were at wasn't right. It wasn't good enough. We had to go somewhere else, and we had to go through this thing to get to this place. That's what a producer does at making records, is that thing where you believe in something and you're pushing through, and then you get to that place where you go, this is it.
Turkey legs are not turkey. It's ham.
Yeah, Thanksgiving's close, right? And you thought you was going to eat some turkey. You thought you were eating turkey.
Is one of the most important pieces of advice that you could take. Money is much more valuable to you today than it is 20 years from now. Let me give you an example. $1,000 25 years ago, I could go to Vegas and have the time of my life. Today, I'd have to spend probably $200,000 to get the same feel. Traveling. Before, I could spend $1,000, go to Europe, backpack, have the time of my life when I was 18, 19, 20. Now, my knees hurt. I gotta fly first class. I gotta stay in a 5-star hotel because my wife is not gonna wanna go backpacking. So that same trip that I could have taken for $1,500 when I was 20 and have the time of my life. Cost me $200,000 now, and it's okay. Why? Because I can't eat this food because it has carbs, or my knees hurt, or I can't sit on a plane for too long. So no matter what you do with business and when you are successful, enjoy this time now, because money is much more valuable to you when you're younger than when you're older.
Do you think there is an upper limit to human aging?
Well, I know there isn't.
You know there is not.
Yeah. We've been able to extend the lifespan of every species that we've tried to extend the lifespan of, and we're no different from those species. There is no law that says we must age. Remember that. We've made a major breakthrough in our understanding of not just why we age, but also how to control that process. We needed to know if it was safe. It's very safe. It's a gift to humanity. It's already here. In the next 18 months or 2 years, testing our first age reversal clinical trial in humans. The whole brain is reversible. We haven't published this, so you've heard it here first. You will be able to rejuvenate your brain and get back memories, get your ability to learn again. I haven't injected myself yet. I think it's a universal process of biology to be able to be reset. A whole body reset is coming. You can reset multiple times. On come these repair genes. Your nerves regrow, your spine regenerates. What we want to do is we want to turn those gene therapies into a pill. I already have some molecules in the lab that show signs of age reversal.
Crazy things I've seen on TikTok today. A woman who works in a hospital in South Florida said there was a mysterious illness going on in her hospital, specifically the ER. People are coming in with flu-like symptoms, sore throats, the works, but they are also coming in with swollen legs, water in their lungs, and fluid in their heart. They are testing negative for the flu, negative for COVID, and negative for RSV. She said that the ER is so packed that they have people in the hallways, on beds, coughing on each other. I'm going to tag her below because I want you to go look at her comment section, because people in other places and healthcare workers in other places are saying that this is happening in their ERs too. The Epstein list release has been paused until January 22nd per the request of John Doe 107 due to fears for her safety. I wonder who she could be. You may have seen some videos about that Ultimate World Cruise, the one that set sail for 9 months. Well, they were hit by a storm and the ship was in chaos. There was water all over the ship. A 10-year-old boy in California shot and killed another 10-year-old boy because he lost to him in a bicycle race. The US government's debt has topped $34 trillion for the first time ever. There will be a horror film about Steamboat Willie now that Mickey Mouse has entered public domain. Well, that specific Mickey Mouse. I don't know about you guys, but that Mickey Mouse with the black eyes has always scared the shit out of me. So I will not be watching that film.
Not working on a phone.
Because you might be the only person that could get people off of the Apple platform.
Well, I can tell you where I think things are going to go, which is that we're not going to have a phone or in the traditional sense. What we call a phone will really be an edge node for AI inference, for AI video inference, with some radios to obviously connect to. But essentially you'll have AI on the server side communicating to an AI on your device, formerly known as a phone, and generating real-time video of anything that you could possibly want. And I think that there won't be operating systems, there won't be apps in the future. There won't be operating systems or apps. It'll just be, you've got a device that is there for the screen and audio and for and to put as much AI on the device as possible, so as to minimize the amount of bandwidth that's needed between your edge node device, formerly known as a phone, and the servers.
So if there's no apps, what will people use? Like, will X still exist? Will there be email platforms, or will you get everything through AI?
You'll get everything through AI.
Everything through AI. What will be the benefit of that, as opposed to having individual apps?
Whatever you can think of, or really whatever the AI can anticipate you might want, it'll show you. That's my prediction for where things end up.
What kind of time frame are we talking about here?
I don't know. It's probably 5 or 6 years, something like that.
So 5 or 6 years, apps are like Blockbuster Video.
Pretty much.
And everything's run through AI.
Yeah, and there'll be most of what people consume in 5 or 6 years, maybe sooner than that, will be just AI generated.
The reason why it's important to listen to Elon when he talks about the future is because he's the one creating it. I mean, if you haven't noticed, anything he sets his mind to, man, he makes it happen one way or another. So I definitely can, take notes on what he's talking about, what the future looks like for sure. Well, you guys, hey, that's another one in the books, man. Hey, I appreciate you guys for stopping by yet again and watching another one with me. If you haven't already, make sure to smash that like button for me, smash that subscribe button, join the iTrack family if you're not already a part of it, and I will definitely catch you on the next one. Before I forget, though, we got 2 more rabbit holes right here somewhere, and go ahead, jump right through and see what they got going on.